How much time do you spend in technologies, cell phones, tablets, iPads, etc.? Have you ever considered that this time you spend on it can be a problem for you and the people around you? In a digital era, many things are easier with the use of technology. It has been increased in good and wrong ways. With many information in a cell phone or any other device, what is the recommendable age to start using these technologies without being affected? According to the report of UNICEF of the last year of children in a digital world, children and youth represent about one of three users around the world. And also, to many children, access to the internet is more personal, private, and less supervised. The abuse of technologies in any age can create the following problems. First, time wasted in devices. Surely you know a person who is always checking his or her phone during the day, or even you are that person that can leave the cell phone for some minutes. Technologies are creating a dependency of the use of devices, and you can realize that maybe in your own home or when you go to shopping or a restaurant, people use their cell phones while driving instead of paying attention to the road. People having accidents because they were checking Facebook or Instagram instead of looking around. Those are a few of the many situations people are living right now. Now, Nancy Collier, in her book The Power of Us, says, "We are spending far too much of our time in things that don't really matter to us. We need to remember that connections with real people is what make us grow like humans." Collier also observes that most people now check their smartphones 150 times per day or every 6 minutes. And to add, 46% of smartphone users now said that their devices are something they couldn't live without. The second problem is the pressure for social media. Passing so much time in these devices means spending time in social media as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, etc. The result is living a life in a digital world. In a digital world, people often make things that in the real life they wouldn't do, like hard judgments, comparisons that can lead to big problems as depression. Carolyn Miller from the Child Mind Institute says that in several resident students, teenage and young adult users who spend the most time on Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms were shown to have a substantially from 13 to 16% higher rate of reported depression than those who spend the less time. It means that exists a correlation. The third problem is video games addiction. Social media are not the only place where people are spending the time the most. Games in a console, cell phones, or any other device is an activity that spends so much time in the life of many people. According to a recent study of the University of New Mexico, suggests that 6 to 15% of all gamers exhibit signs that could be characterized as an addiction. It creates an isolation from the people around that person, and the lack of communication with other people creates a problem in social interactions. The fourth problem is computer harassment. In a digital world, nobody is safe unless he or she knows how to prevent it. In that case, the little ones are the more affected because they are not enough informed or well educated about the risks they can find in the internet. The harassment can take many forms as sexual harassment, cyberbullying, and abusive message. With the facility of communication, predators can communicate easily with their children through their profiles in social media. In Madagascar, a teacher demanding a 17-year-old girl the equivalent of $300 in return to approve the subject. Desperate for finding the money, she approached to a man with whom she had been in contact for 6 months. "He kidnapped me and kept me locked in his house for 2 months, and he raped me repeatedly," she said. After being rescued from the police, she received medical attention and psychological support. The man and the teacher were arrested. "I am fine now," she said. "I have returned to school, and I wish I had some of orientation. My parents did not know that I was talking to strangers," she said. With all that problems, we can think that eliminate the technology from our lives can be a solution, but that's not the idea, because technologies can be used for good too. First, we need to educate the parents, because in the most cases they are responsible to educate the children in a way they can be aware from the risks they can find in the internet. Many of them give smartphones to their children as a form of entertaining and without any information while they are doing another tasks. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommended to introduce these technologies after the 18 months of life, and after that, take control over the time they and their children are spending on it. Parents must create activities where the children can interact with other children and can be in contact with nature. Also, they must have rules at home about technologies like how many time they are in their cell phone, watching TV, or playing video games. And also, workplaces, they can't use these devices. The most important part to inform them about the risks they can find on the internet. A friend of mine made some rules to her family after she realized it was consuming a lot of her interactions as a family. She created a set of rules to her family in the most important parts of the day, like no smartphones during the meals, breakfast, lunch, the dinner, and also 45 minutes of TV or watching videos on YouTube after doing all of her stuff. Also, she with her husband take the time to explain to the children about the risk of technologies and how they need to add in front of the many situations they can face on internet. Now she had more time to be with her kids, and the interactions helped the family to eliminate the dependency of technology, and now their kids are more aware and they're willing to tell their parents with confidence the problems or concerns they have about the use of technologies. As I said before, there are so many risks with the wrong use of technologies. At some point, technology has the power of our time. I invite you to take precautions and organize your time to invest it instead of spending it, and to help others to be aware about the topic. Many children, young men, and young women will be protected if we act now.